So you see the social distancing. That's what's made it impossible to get a shooting station without having to wait for 2 hours. So yeah, a 2-hour wait, and they only limit a shooter to shoot for 2 hours. And the cost has more than doubled for range fees. So this is what we have to put up with all of this social distancing and the coronavirus. Now I am going to run my chronograph, but only to get a reading of the velocity of the load and not to do any extensive extreme spread and standard deviation testing, because we just simply don't have time. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to use the cleaning patches and also the ease-ox to clean the guns between the different brands of reloading dies that loaded the loads. So we'll be fair by doing that. Okay, so we had to wait 2.5 hours to get a shooting line here. So let's get going on this. So we're going to start with the Hornady first. And again, we're not going to shoot with sandbags or anything like that. We're just going to do it the way the Old West shooters did. And that is, if it hits where it's supposed to hit when you touch it off, then you call it a shot, and if it's there, it's there. It's an accurate load. Kind of jittery today. Yeah, I can't get myself settled down. All that waiting. It's like shooting a little low. Gotta go for a center hold. Oh boy. We are really bad today.
Where's the grouping?
Right.
Okay, this is not fair to the Hornady loads because there's just no, we're not touching off very well right now. Okay, so here's a test to see if the Hornady is holding the crimp. So the Hornady ammo is holding the crimp real well. So there's 50 rounds, and the first 6 I shot were all low. Had to aim up here, and then it's not very good shooting. But the nice thing is all the holes are nice and round, which means that we have good bullet stability. And the Hornady dies did a good job loading those 45 Colt ammunition, so no complaints there really. So this is the Redding ammunition. We're loading 6 and shooting 5 and testing the crimp. I already shot you, and there's a couple wild shots there. So we almost have to learn how to shoot all over again. The COVID shutdown is, plus for some reason I'm really jittery today.
Okay, thank you.
That's a center target. So when you're jittery, it makes your trigger finger control bad. So when you're not used to the jitteriness, the wobble, even though inside our mind we know the wobble isn't as important as trigger control. When you're having wobble, you don't have any confidence. That's a good one. So yeah, looks like the Redding is loading ammunition that puts it on target if you do your job. Well, that one hit a little right where I called it. So maybe forget that. All right, let's go ahead and check to see the. So now, as you know, we're actually loading the plated 200 bullets with the Redding because it couldn't load the lead bullets with the shaving. So it looks like it loaded the plated bullets and the crimp is holding. Well, I had to put the 5.5 inch down because it got too hot. So now we're shooting the 7.5 inch again.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we normally would do the drone in that part and I'll take care of it. Do you have any that I can trade them out for? No. Whether you take them, you can, but. Oh, that's the, so no more inside?
Well, we're starting to feel a little better about our shooting, but there's still too many wild ones out there. Too many that are thrown out, so we gotta get rid of those. So good news, the wobble is reduced because I'm getting a little steadier, and then that gives confidence to the trigger. Gives confidence to the trigger press, and so we're releasing the trigger much better on this target. So it's not really the Redding ammunition that's shooting the better than the Hornady. It's because the shooter is just getting a little bit more settled in. This one, you take these, put them in there, and you're going to have a hole like that too, because that's what the 45 Colt does. It just cuts big holes on top of holes, and then the whole center will come out. So while shooting the Redding, both guns got too hot to hold, so it was a good chance to let it cool off a little bit. Now we're going to go ahead and shoot the Lyman loads next. So I'm pleased to report that right there in the middle of the screen is 11 shots of the Lyman Ammo, and all 11 shots hit exactly where I called them. Dropped 2, and I could see the front sight dip at the moment of ignition, and sure enough they went low. The other 9 are in the gold, with 7 of them nice in the center, and those are all called shots. They felt real good. The reason only 11 shots were fired was because we did a crimp test, and the Lyman dies made nice crimps, no movement of the bullet at all after 5 shots were fired. Well, the last 4 shots with the Lyman and the 5.5 inch pistol put a clover leaf right at 12 o'clock. So here's 50 rounds with a Lyman, and if the shooter did his job better, we wouldn't have those thrown out of the gold. That's a 3-inch gold. Now the RCBS actually threw a couple that were, I didn't call them that bad. But it's probably the shooter, because I did call these out here. It's kind of like a little healing action, so I could actually see that happening. And that's what caused this, but I didn't think they were that far out. But anyway, these are all pretty good. This is a couple of drop shots down here caused by trigger control. So the RCBS actually is doing pretty well, but I still have another 8 more rounds to shoot before the target change hit and stopped us from finishing up. Now the loads with the Dillon dies are interesting because they're actually loaded with 45 ACP dies from Dillon. So let's see how well these shoot. They've got 6 loaded. We're going to shoot 5 and check the crimp.
Okay. What I hit?
What? The middle one? Yeah. Oh yeah, I can see it.
Are you just...
Okay, so look at that. The crimp did not move at all. Not even one little iota. And that's 5 into gold. Well, the Dillon loads are shooting up a storm. It put the last 4 almost into the same hole. One of them threw it out a little bit, but the other 3 of the 4 made a nice clover leaf there. And that clover leaf is about a 1/4 inch from the center of the gold, so far these Dillons are really lighting them up. Gun's getting hot. That's gold. Ah, yeah, I called that one high. That was the worst shot. This always happens with cameras on.
Excuse me, sir.
I'm kind of messing it up. Threw 2 of them out of the gold.
Yeah, that has the empty kick kit. So,
That one's in the gold at 12 o'clock.
I've seen it.
And that one's in there. So, not bad. We're liking those Dillon loads. Interestingly, even with 10.2 grains of Herco powder, we still got some obturation problems in terms of it not obturating all the cases completely. So I would hazard to guess that if I were running chronographs, then I'm going to have some spread of standard deviations, more excessive spread of the shots caused by the obturation. We're losing some of the gas pressure there. So what this means is we need even a heavier load, so that probably going to 10.5 grains might help a little bit. We've got a good pile of empty brass there. About 275 rounds. We didn't get a chance to finish up the whole 300 rounds. So the Dillon actually performed very well. This and that were basically, I was getting a little tired there at the end and kind of rushing things because the bell was going to go off and I was going to have to leave the shooting station. So we basically just threw the 2 away. So the Dillon did very well. I like the way that Lyman shot. The Lyman, these 2, Dillon and Lyman, the shots hit exactly where I called them. So I dropped the shot, I dropped it, and sure enough, there it is. And I heeled the shot, and doggone, I heeled it, and sure enough, there it was. So the calling was very reliable, but I can't really say that the Redding and the Hornady didn't do well, because basically I think that's just shooter error. I needed about 200 rounds to get back on my game.
When you're ready to shoot.
So this is the RCBS, and it was like middle of the course. I can't call these being that bad, these heeled shots. So it might have been, maybe I did heel them that bad, but it didn't seem like it. So shooters and reloaders, what can we conclude now that we've fired almost 300 rounds of 45 Colt ammunition loaded by all the various die making companies? What can we conclude? And that is that all of our die making companies will produce products that will make excellent ammunition that we can tailor to highest accuracy for our particular guns. And this ammo that they make, it's safe, it's dependable, reliable, and there were no malfunctions with the ammo today at all, with all of the rounds. And those bullets shot so well that running a nylon brush about 4 times through the barrel left a shiny, foul-free, lead-free barrel in both our guns. And running the same nylon brush, 50 caliber brush, in the cylinders with an electric drill made cleaning there easy. Then we wipe down the rest of the gun surfaces and then go ahead and put mineral oil in the barrel, in the cylinders, and on the outside, and these guns are ready to go for the next test. So whatever brand of reloading die you like or prefer, they're all good and excellent, so that they deserve their followings. This is Fortune Cookie 45 LC coming to you from the Hot Lead Zone Express, and this is the finish of our 10-part video series on our reloading dies from American manufacturers. Bye for now.